Hello Angel, hi Tara back, fantastic. So what we're doing here, as the title suggests, we're doing the Rue Montrogueil, which is a fantastic local slice of Paris. Really fun. I'm actually looking, we're gonna see a lot of cafes, sidewalk cafes today. This one has a lovely little painting up above it. Let me try to zoom in a little bit for you. At the base of the Rue Montrogueil, the first and second arrondissement. I can't zoom in, but you can see there at the top of this cafe called La Pointe. Hello everybody, bonjour, great to see you stopping by. We've already got about 100 people here live, so fantastic, welcome. This is the Rue Montrogueil. I'm actually standing, let me pan left nice and slow for you. You might recognize this rather from the last episode. This is that beautiful Church of Saint-Eustache that we did, episode 27. So I wanted to do the street next to it, Montrogueil, last time, but I did not have time at all. And as we're looking at this part of Saint-Eustache that we couldn't see last time, do you see, let's get a little bit closer, do you see that barometer over there, that disc? It's pretty fantastic, nice old detail there. Only part of it is still there, but I don't know if you can read, but on the left it says pluie, which means rain, and then it says variable, which means variable. And it used to give the locals here, because there was a huge market where they were selling all sorts of stuff here, the central market, and it would help them know what kind of weather to expect. And one of them says beau temps, which means, nice weather. So nice antique barometer there on Saint-Eustache, and this is the church. If you want to go back and watch the replay of episode 27 of this series, you can see the interiors. We had a great time in there. This is a street called the Rue Montmartre, even though we're nowhere near Montmartre, but it leads you to there eventually, if you walk in that direction. Thanks everybody, I see all you saying welcome back. I appreciate that. Let's get started here. A lot of Paris is pretty quiet because it's August. Those of you who have been here in August know what I'm talking about. You know, quite a few stores will be shut down and whatnot, but this street is always bustling. So the Rue Montrogueil, here we go. We're in the first arrondissement right now, but we're gonna blend into the second very quickly. For those of you who are Patreon members of mine and you've watched the cafe chats, this used to be called something by a different name. It used to be called Jet Lag, and this is where Charlotte and I did our second cafe chat actually. We're sitting right here. I guess they changed the name. Hi, Natalie Hayes, yeah. Mentioning that she and her mom, Phyllis Cartwright, are gonna be here in June. That's fantastic, I can't wait to see you all. I'm gonna see your mom very soon actually, I think in just a couple of days. I'm gonna do Montmartre with your mom. So Rue Montrogueil is known for various things. I'm gonna go nice and slow here because there's a lot to see. We've got a popular chain of Italian gelato here called Amarino. Now, will you get the best gelato in France? Probably not. You got to go down south to Italy for that. But if you got to get gelato in Paris, I definitely recommend this chain. It's really, really good stuff. And then behind me, I'll do a nice slow pan for you. There's a fun spot called Odette. I know some of you like Odette. Here you can get special pastries that are called choux pastries, sort of like eclair style pastry, but here they're in little spherical balls. Let me show you what that looks like. As you know, if you've watched this series for a while, we're all about Paris meditation, and so there's a little bit there. So let me see what kind of flavors we got. Passion fruit, pistachio, lemon. So what's going on in here? Well, these are hollow choux pastries, and they pump various flavored creams and whatnot inside there. It's a cute little spot called Odette. Bonjour. So these are the first of many addresses that I want to share with you on the Rue Montrogueil. We'll talk about some great addresses for food and also some great history and details here. Plenty of it. Hi, Deborah. Deborah's saying glad to have you back. Thanks. I feel the same. It's great to be back. Slightly nervous before this one after taking a few weeks off. But I think I'll slip into the routine soon enough. Feeling good about this street. This is one of the oldest restaurants we have here called Autunno de Halles. Something fun about this one. Let me zoom in a little bit without bothering the management. Here you can get a lot of standard French bistro fare. If I zoom in above the bar, it has the prices of coffees at the bar. Bonjour. Je filme juste un petit peu, pas vous, mais juste les prix. Merci. So those are the bar prices. You may or may not know that it's cheaper to have a coffee at the bar. So if you look over here, it says crème, as in café crème, €3.50. I asked them how much it costs if you're out on the sidewalk, and that same coffee will cost you €4.50. So you're paying an extra euro rather than sitting at the bar for €3.50 here. Right there. That's me, by the way. Hi. $3.50 there at the bar, or $4.50 here on the sidewalk. So it's worth it, right? €1 to rent out this little piece of real estate here. Watch the world go by. Cute tables. Hi, everybody. Thanks for all the welcome back wishes and whatnot. I'm so psyched that so many of you are here. I know some of you have been jonesing for Paris, waiting for this series to come back. This is fun here to the left. We're at number 17 of Rue Montrogueil. If you can see the name up there, it's called the Passage of the Queen of Hungary. So what's the story there? It's kind of charming, actually. This used to be a passage, an alleyway that would cut through this area called Les Halles. And there used to be an enormous marketplace to the left of me called Les Halles for hundreds and hundreds of years. And there was a vegetable vendor. And this lady lived down in this passage. Well, she went out to Versailles one day to petition Marie Antoinette, the queen out of Versailles, to convince Marie Antoinette to do something for her. And various people would petition the queen. And Marie Antoinette looked at this lady, this vendor, and said, "Gosh, you really remind me of my mother, the Queen of Hungary." And so that reputation spread. And once the queen said that you looked like part of her royal family, that was a big deal. So that was just a nickname. The Queen of Hungary is what this lady was known as. All of her friends and her family were quite tickled by that Marie Antoinette even acknowledged her. And so that's why this passage is named after the Queen of Hungary, even though the queen herself likely never even visited the street. Now this is number 17, as I mentioned. Look at that charming hand-carved address. This reminds me of something that it just always gets the better of me since I've been living here the last 8 years. The number 1, writing the numeral 1 in French is so damn hard. Do you see how it's kind of awkward? Like the little nose, as it were, on the top of the one that sticks out. It's far too long, but that's what the French do. I still haven't, after 8.5 years here, figured out how to properly write the number 1. And of course the number 7 always has the dash through it, right, through the middle, so you can distinguish it from the 1. So I think that's a charming detail. Hi, Anna Tinsman. Superfan Anna Tinsman, great to have you here. Let me also back up here without getting hit by the delivery truck. This is mostly a pedestrian street, Montrogueil, but deliveries, of course, are allowed. I just want to give you an idea for the building, if you can make out the sculpted details there, the sculpted faces. I didn't bring my ladder with me, sorry, I can't get any closer than this. But some fairly beautiful, what I would guess are 18th century wrought iron balcony railings. And over here too, to the left, sort of a sister building, if you can make it out above that central row of windows. Some more sculpted elements, if you can see that. Good stuff. Again, 1700s most likely for this type of architecture. And then if we back up here again, I get a kick out of this. The modern day shop next to Le Passage de la Reine de Hongrie. Look at this. One of the old columns, one of the old pillars of the building, right in the middle of the entrance of the shop. Can you make that out? Look at that. I guess you can't remove it. So the store just deals with it. And it is smack dab in the center of the entrance. Pretty charming stuff. Hi everybody, I know I keep saying hi and thanks for the well wishes. I can't say that through the whole video, but I want you to know that I am recognizing all those familiar names and I really appreciate you stopping by. Every now and then I'll indulge in a cookie. This place is called La Fabrique. I think they got a couple of addresses in Paris and they make the best cookies. A bit of sticker shock every time. One cookie is $2.20. But yeah, La Fabrique, when it's open, they're on vacation, like a lot of folks. When it's open, check that out if you're in the mood for a good cookie. Ooh, I see a free sample. Hold on. Falafels. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
C'est des falafels, c'est ça?
Oui.
Merci beaucoup.
C'est bien.
Let's give you a look at that little mini falafel ball. Free sample. Because they gave me free food, let me give them a plug. Al Bustan. Falafels and such. Middle Eastern food. There's their plug. Very good. Very tasty. A little bit cold, but very good. Speaking of live samples, sorry, you're going to have to listen to me finish this falafel in my mouth. Right here we've got sort of competing pizza joints. Caldo Fredo, fantastic. And then across the way, I'll go nice and slow so you don't get sick. This one's called Made in Italy. And they both serve pretty good pizza for what it is. You know, it's street food. But the pizza's very good, and you'll often see young gentlemen out here with plates of samples of pizza. Truffle and spinach and feta and all kinds of good stuff. So, oh my goodness. We've got a little traffic jam here. Missy Lamb, hi Missy, asking me if the falafel is good. Falafel's real good. I'd have another one. I'd go back. This is a fun store, or restaurant rather. Look at that blue sky today. Woo! Big old escargot there because this place is called l'escargot, and that's their specialty. They specialize in cuisine from the Burgundy region, and there are many good things that come from Burgundy. One of them is great snails. This is actually one of the 10 or 11 oldest restaurants in Paris. It was opened in 1832, which was the year after The Hunchback of Notre Dame came out. And let's zoom in on the menu. Coughing up a bit of falafel here. Yeah, Pat says it must be chilly. It is a very cold day for August right now. It feels like October today. I almost wore my scarf. Let me zoom in here for fun. These are their snails. So you can get traditional snails, and it says garlic and parsley butter, which is classic. You can get truffle snails. You can get them with foie gras. You can get them with garlic curry and blue cheese. All kinds of good stuff. I know it's not for everybody, but occasionally people will ask me, where do I get the best snails in Paris? Go ahead and try this out. Any restaurant that's willing, that has the audacity to put a huge golden escargot on top of their establishment, they must be serving up some good ones. While we're on the subject of golden details, we missed this one here. Let me zoom in. This is a street that's fantastic where you really got to, look up, always look up. All right, onward. Again, if you're just joining us, we're in the first and second arrondissement, really in the heart of the city, going up the Rue Montrogueil, a pedestrian street, also sometimes described as a market-style street. And we left a section called Les Halles, and we're walking northward. Let me pause here and point you up to this. We just crossed the Rue Etienne Marcel. Can you make out on either side of the window those little lion heads? Do you remember when we did the Bastille Day video tour? I pointed out that whenever you see those little lion heads up there around that sort of height, it means that they used to have iron bars in their mouths that extended out to hold the awnings of whatever this may have been. It might have been a shop back in the day, it might have been a cafe. And so those little lion heads are a very discreet and random detail. But honestly, the more discreet and random, the more I love them. Carl Frye, my little bro, in the house. Fantastic. This feels like a big sort of homecoming, like a family reunion. Love it. Man, just a great atmosphere here on the Rue Montrogueil today. Here's a great street that I'm going to have to do a video of this. It's called the Rue Tiquetonne. It's an old medieval street from the 11th and 12th century. This street actually used to run along the outer medieval wall that surrounded Paris. So can you imagine that? Where they're walking right now used to be a medieval path that ran outside the 50-foot wall that protected the city. And that means I would be standing outside of the city, and everything that we've already done this way would have been in the interior of medieval Paris. So the city has expanded tremendously since then. A cute little florist here that I'll spend a moment to meditate on. This place is called Le Compas, which means the compass. And boy, this is probably the hippest, sort of the most beautiful people, I would say, that you'll see on a sidewalk cafe here. Really pretty stuff. You can't go wrong with many of these cafes. It's so awesome for people watching. And if we zoom up from the awning, look at the iron bars that are holding the awning there. Can you make out the little lion heads? So there we go. Some lions have given up their iron bars and some still have them, doing their thing. Now we get to a real fun address. Joseph Schweitzer says, wow, you made my day. Thanks. I'm glad to hear that, Joseph. Let me back up. Boy, backing up is tough on the street today. This, they say, is the oldest pastry shop in all the city. Store. Some of you may have heard of this. Some of you may have visited this. 1730 is when this opened up. So what happened, the king was Louis the 15th, and he married a princess whose father was the king of Poland. And so when this Polish princess, married to the new French king, came over, she brought many things from her homeland, and one of them was her pastry chef. So she brought over this gentleman called Storer, and Storer opened up this shop in 1730. Let's zoom in a little bit. It's all registered as a historical monument, including the facade, and then I'll show you the interiors in a minute. It's probably no surprise that I'm such a sucker for whatever is the oldest this and that, or the first this and that. I just love a good dose of history with whatever I'm putting in my mouth. Look at this. Look at the ceiling here. This ceiling was actually hand painted by an artist called Baudry. And Baudry in I think it was 1864, he was also painting the opera house, the Grand Opéra Garnier, just the most illustrious painted ceilings that you can still enjoy in the opera house. So he did these. You won't find too many bakeries with this kind of artistry. Let me go nice and slow. Let's meditate on these details for a minute. Again, this place is called Storer. Polish pastry chef, royal pastry chef, brought in by the Queen of France, the wife of Louis XV. Now I know you probably want to get a look at the food. This is all registered, the interiors, as a historical monument, as I mentioned. There we go. Nice and close here. Woo! Good times. A lot of raspberry action going on. Look at the cream. Can you make out the cream there on the top of this cake? Beautiful. A work of art. Sorry, I'm going to try to reduce the glare for everybody. Ooh. These little things in the center of your screen, they're calling them the cheesecake. That looks fantastic. And then as I back out carefully, without running into anybody, let me show you what they did on the floor. What I really appreciate these old shops, you know, no expense spared. They embedded the name right into the floor. Get nice and close here. Look at that. That's class. That's all class. Love it. So yeah, the oldest pastry shop in Paris, Storer. Now let me show you, they're very proud of a visitor who came, and the visitor was none other than the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. So that's her visit. I can show you, there's another postcard here. So as I move around the lady who's selling ice cream for Storer, let me bend down here and show you what you can also get as far as postcards. Right there, that's the Queen's visit. Queen Elizabeth, who I believe is at least semi-fluent in French. I know when French presidents have gone to visit her at Buckingham Palace, she speaks with them in French. So that's Storer. I'm going to give you another zoom out, and I also want to point out the old doorway just next to it. Can you make that out? That beautiful sculpted door there? Oh my goodness. Storer. Founded 1730. Why, by the way, when Louis XV and his queen, his Polish queen, why was the pastry chef all the way over here when Versailles was miles and miles outside of the city? Well, across the way, there used to be a very affluent, today it's a boucherie, it's a butcher. There used to be a very affluent company that was making, you know, those chairs essentially where you'd have servants carry you around? Well, they were manufacturing them here. So there were a lot of high-end clientele walking up and down this portion of the Rue Montrogueil. And so that's why Mr. Storer, the royal pastry chef, was doing all right for himself here. Okay, onward. Oh, Nancy is saying, show us the boucherie. All right. All right, I'll show you the boucherie. I'm here to please, Nancy. Here to please. Sorry for those who don't love meat or if you're vegetarian, but Nancy wants to see the meat. Damn it, we're going to give Nancy the meat. I didn't ask them if I can go in, but we're going to... Now, when you describe the Rue Montrogueil as being a market-style street, these are the shops that give it that reputation. Some various pre-made objects. Bonjour. They're asking me what I'm doing. Je filme sur Facebook en direct. Je suis guide touristique, donc c'est une visite du quartier. Merci beaucoup. People wondering what the heck I'm doing here, filming all of their food. Ooh, let me show you this as we make our way out. We've got various gratin, melted cheese, potato, sausage, little chickens, and such. Okay, there you go, Nancy. And the rotisserie chickens as we back out, right? Pretty classic machine. And here we go. Merci, au revoir. $245 live viewers. Fantastic. Thanks so much. I'm feeling good here. Nice to be back in the swing. Produce. I mean, while we're getting into food. Look at these yellow tomatoes. Oh my goodness. Woo. Men at work. There's such a great pride, isn't there, in the food, and more specifically the presentation of the food. This might be a fun perspective. Let me show you this. Down on my knees. Everyone's out and about. I think we're all going to be hungry after this walk today. Okay. I still got some more cool stuff to show you. First of all, on the left, you know, sometimes you're not in the mood for French food. Maybe you don't want anything heavy. Maybe you just want something a little healthier, to be honest. And every now and then when I want a nice light meal, I go to one of these. There are several in Paris. Exquis. It's actually a play on words, because if you pronounce this exquis, it's the same word for exquisite in French, exquis. And let me show you what's going on. It's great for vegetarians, but there's also some meat as well. It's a lot of healthy quiches and salads, healthy sandwiches and whatnot. Let me see if there's any self-service in here. And it's all pre-made. So it's a little bit of like sort of cafeteria style, but it's tabbouleh, it's quinoa, it's fruit salads, it's just all sorts of stuff that you wouldn't mind putting in your body. Like right here, all these good salads. So it's called exquis. And they got a lot of sort of healthy drinks over there, juices and whatnot. And on any day, they'll have a bunch of soups and they'll have quiches and things. As I said, always with a healthy slant. So if you want, you know, more of a guilt-free meal, real quick, you know, cafeteria style, not too expensive, go ahead and check out an exquis. This place is really special. This is another very old restaurant called Au Rocher de Canal. Au Rocher de Canal. It's known for a couple of things. First of all, let me show you. Here on the corner, they specialize in oysters. So let me try to back up a little bit here. You see that there's a sculpture on the corner of oysters. And what they would do in the 1800s, for example, is they would get the fastest horses they could find in Brittany, and they would bring in oysters as quick as they could, and a lot of seafood. And the horses would run, gallop, gallop, gallop as fast as they could, and when they tired out, they would go to a relais where they would change their horses and get another set of the fastest horses in northern France, all to get fresh seafood to Paris as fast as possible. This place here, which as you can see is beautiful, the facade, dates back a long, long time, and it was the favorite restaurant, they say, of the great French novelist Balzac, playwright and novelist Balzac. Now, Balzac came here all the time. He was very prolific, this writer. He left Paris, lived here, and wrote over 85 novels. And one reason he was able to do that is they said he had an amazing coffee addiction. So he would drink over 50 cups of coffee a day. Sometimes he would eat coffee grounds, and he would write from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. every day. Trying to walk backwards here. 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. every night, I should say. And then he would come here, hang out, eat, watch the world go by, drink tons of coffee, and then pass out at 6 p.m., sleep till midnight, and do it all over again. What a beautiful shot that is with his son. He would die at 51 years old after writing, as I said, 85 plus novels. I guess that's, one way to be prolific is if you're pounding all of those coffees each day. And he died. And they say he died. He may be the only man who goes down in history as dying of caffeine poisoning. That's apparently the official the official cause of death. Caffeine poisoning. I don't even know if that's a thing. But when he died at 51 years old, they said that's what did him in. It was the coffee. So I quite like that place. And if you want a good historic spot to eat, go ahead and check that out. If you want to summon the spirit of Balzac. Let me show you something here too, if I can get low enough. Something I love about this area, do you see what they're doing with the cobblestones? I gotta say, what I've been saying in my life, in my guided tours lately, because if you don't know me already, I'm a full-time tour guide. That's what I'm doing here. I haven't really introduced myself this time around, but when I give my tours of Paris, I talk about the idea of just giving a darn, to just caring, and that's what they did here. They could have just done a really boring cobblestone street, right? Cobblestone streets are already great, but can you make out the design here, the squiggly pattern? I just love that. The attention to detail, giving a darn. Look at that. Fantastic. What else can I show you here? Now I mentioned I didn't introduce myself. Let me do that. I like to show my mug at least once on every broadcast. So my name's Frye. I call myself a French fry in Paris. I'm a full-time tour guide, blogger, photographer, and live streamer here. And I do these every week, every Saturday typically, putting you on the streets of Paris in real time. There's all kinds of stuff I could tell you. I don't want to take away too much from the Rue Montrogueil, but you'll see in the link of the description here, because you can watch the replay whenever you need to here on Facebook, there's a link to something called Patreon, and you can become a member. I'm a bit overexposed here. Oh well. You can become a Patreon member, and you can go to the website and see what that includes. You can support this project, help it to continue. If you're a Paris fan and you want to visit virtually every week, you go to Patreon and you'll get rewards and things like that if you support us each month with a small donation. I mention that because at the end of this walk today, I'm going to do a private cafe chat for my Patreon people. And that'll be another broadcast on our private Facebook page. Today is a very special one because I'm going to have two guests, and my guests are going to be my mom and my sister who are in town visiting Paris right now. So that's going to be a real exciting one. You're going to get to know all about me and growing up and what they think of Paris and what they think about me and all of this business. So if you're a Patreon member, you're going to join us for that after this walk, my mom and my sister. And if you're not a Patreon member, go ahead and click on the link and you can check that out. Okay? Otherwise, you can follow my blog, my Instagram, and all of that jazz. And certainly here on Facebook, you can follow me. Ooh, got that out of the way. That's a cute little cheese shop called La Fermette, known for, well, not only great cheese, but the iconic little cow out there. So isn't it funny that earlier we saw a big old snail up on top of an establishment, and now it's a big cow? Cute little dude. Ooh, something just caught my eye here. I say this on my tours to my clients sometimes. One thing that you can't get in the States and the US is much sheep's milk cheese. And the name for sheep is right here. It's called brebis. And if you come to Paris, if you come to anywhere in France and you're wondering what the heck do I do with all these hundreds of cheeses, how do I make a choice? Seek out this brebis. It's not too strong, it's creamy, it's rich, sometimes a little bit hard, sometimes softer. But man, sheep's milk cheese, something that you might not necessarily get in the United States. So keep an eye out for that. Nice pan. here at the intersection of Rue Bacaumont. First of all, see that little blue awning down there? That's a mozzarella bar. If you are really into mozzarella, go and check that out. It's pretty fun. If you can make that out. It's called Mozzato. The blue awning just right there on the Rue Bacaumont. But let me show you this here. Interesting bit of history that's very easy to pass up, embedded in the floor here. Let me read you. In 1750, the very last execution of a homosexual happened in Paris. It was obviously at that time in 1750 looked down upon in a big way. And here, right in this area, were arrested these two gentlemen, Bruno Lenoir and Jean Dieu. And it says they were condemned for homosexuality and they were burned alive at the stake in front of Hôtel de Ville, Place de Grève, in 1750. And then it says at the bottom it was the last execution for homosexuality in France. A little bit later, it's the French Revolution, and they finally decriminalize homosexuality. And then a couple hundred years after that, in 2013, they would make gay marriage legal. So it was a long road, for sure. But that's an interesting bit of history there, and it just shows you how they would treat their criminals. It wasn't just the homosexuals that were burned alive at the stake. Plenty of others as well, assassins, folks who had committed crimes against God. That's a tea store I quite like, Mariage Frère. If you ever find one of those in Paris, pop in and grab my personal favorite tea. It's a black tea with hints of vanilla and chocolate and caramel, I think. It's called French Breakfast. Ooh, I love it. Good cup of French breakfast. All right, so we're almost getting to the end of Rue Montrogueil here. In fact, at the end, technically, you'll see it turns into a different street. It's named the Rue des Petits Carreaux, but essentially, it's all considered the Rue Montrogueil. Let me show you this. This is a hair salon. Cute little. I mean, if you got to get your hair done, might as well come here. Look at that. Swooping down beneath the chandelier. Yeah, so that's the hair salon. It's called Coiffeurst. Don't want to bother people inside, but you'll see there's another chandelier, or two actually, inside the establishment itself. I know, like myself, most of you are always up for a good little courtyard excursion. This is a beautiful spot here with some 19th century mosaic work. Café Biard, but it's clearly not a cafe anymore. It's actually sort of a souvenir shop with a lot of toys and games. These are souvenirs you'd actually want to buy, you'd actually give a damn about. I'll just give you a little glimpse in there. And there's a beautiful... First of all, the facade's great. Oh, let me show you what's in the window here. Some little figurines. I have a 3-year-old daughter. I think she'd go nuts in a place like this. Again, let me show you the old mosaics. Woo! Look at that. Actually, let's start here at the corner. Let's do a proper flyby. No point in doing a flyby unless it's a proper one. So, in fact, look up top. I wanted to show you this too. Let me extend. Can you make out just above the top of the shop there, there's a hand-carved version of the word Montrogueil. Hope you can make that out. In the stone, right on the corner there, the original street sign, hand-carved Montrogueil. And then, flyby. Great moldings. And... mosaic, 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 mosaic. Mosaic, 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 mosaic. So good. Also, I want to give you some food recommendations because we're at the intersection of a street that's got some good ones, some lunch spots. We're going to zoom down for some doggies. Doggy cam, doggy cam. And then moving to the invader cam. That's our famous street artist Invader. Here's another street artist that I'm not familiar with. I just saw this today, to be honest. Lovely. Good stuff. Very visual area, very visual neighborhood. So let me give you some good restaurant recommendations. Nothing too fancy or high end, but something that will satisfy you if you're in the area and you want to grab a bite. I've been in search for a good burger, you know, as a red-blooded American for a long, long time. And there's a chain here in Paris called Big Fernand. And boy, they do a really nice burger. What I also like, not only are the burgers up to snuff, but they do herbe de Provence French fries, which are great. I love when people spice up their fries with a little herbage. And also they do their own mustards and ketchups. And man, their ketchup, just what a great take on ketchup, I gotta say. So squeeze a bunch of ketchup onto those herbe de Provence French fries, and you're gonna be happy at Big Fernand, and you can find several of them in the city, excuse me. I feel like I'm still coughing up little bits of those falafel balls. And then if you're in a British mood, this place here, Joanna's Fish and Chips, is a family-run joint, which is really tiny but delicious, authentic style fish and chips. It's a husband and wife and their son, or maybe their 2 children, and they're just really sweet, and really one of the best fish and chips that I've had. Also, here we go, continuing with the theme. Wine bar called Red. You can make that out. Not quite open for business yet, but will be. Bonjour. And then this place here for Thai food. Can you get amazing Thai food in Paris? Well, you can get close. And this place here with the big K, it's called Kapunka. And there are a few locations as well. I particularly like the location that's in the Passage des Panoramas. But you can see there's a nice old piece of signage up there, hand-painted, Mathieu, which is the name Matthew. Anyway, Kapunka. Let me show you the name if I can. Yeah, here we go. Decent Thai food, I gotta say. Worth your while. And then further down on the street, there are a few other, actually some other wine bars and a health food restaurant. Okay? Just wanted to make that quick little detour for you. We're going to be finishing up, and I'm going to do that cafe chat with my mom and sister for all of you Patreon subscribers. Donna Brune says, love this tour. Thank you, Donna. I really appreciate that. Boy, the light in the sky today, can't really ask for more. It feels like a cool, crisp October day, really. Back to that toy and games and souvenir shop here. Let me give you an idea. Another 18th century building with the most delicate ironwork here. Oh my goodness. Look at that. And then if you include in the frame the lamppost and a little bit of the mosaic, life is good, right? And then the sculpted window tops there. Let's see. Let's meditate on that for a second. Whew, good stuff. In case you're wondering, the street that we just, that I pointed out those food addresses at, it's right there. The Rue Saint-Sauveur. Saint-Sauveur. One of the many medieval streets in this area. And again, this has transformed from the Rue Montrogueil into the Rue des Petits Carreaux. All right, keeping my head on a swivel to see if there's anything else I want to show you here today. Yeah, I want to show you this facade up here. Number 10 of this street. So I saw this a while ago and I said, oh, isn't that beautiful with the wood paneling, even though it's in need of a paint job, and there's this lovely, actually, tile work. But then I look closely and there's a decidedly racist scene playing out here. To be honest, you can see this sort of plantation man or whatever it may be, and with the slave serving him up what appears to be a cup of coffee, and the gentleman, the white man's got his pipe and he's ready for a nice hot beverage. So apparently everybody's okay with walking underneath this rather racist image, but I guess it's historic and it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. But this part of the facade's really lovely as far as the history. Let me show you this view as we look back southward along what we just walked. Paris light. Can't really beat it. Ah, this guy's into it too. All right. You go, guy. This is an Italian place. And I'll just give you a quick look at what's going on in there. Fun Italian grocery store, épicerie. Doesn't always have to be French, right? And because I don't particularly want to end on this racist note, I think that would probably be quite a faux pas for a tour guide to end with a dash of racism. Let's instead finish with something sweet. It's a fun shop called La Chambre aux Confitures. Confiture, of course, being jelly or jam. And what I love about these stores, you can find several of them in the city, is they're really good about offering samples. You can go in, they're always very friendly, they're very welcoming. Bonjour. Je filme juste un petit peu merci, les pots. So all what you see here up top are testers, in that you can go and just go through a whole smorgasbord of confiture and jams. Also spreads, like let me show you here. This is white chocolate and tea. Acacia. This says white butter, beurre blanche. No, sorry, bruyère blanche. Salted butter caramel. Straight up white chocolate. Grab a spoon, do your thing. If you come to this place, La Chambre aux Confitures, the one that I want you to try is a framboise or a raspberry with champagne. Vous avez la framboise champagne ici? I want to point it out to you. Ah, parfait, merci. Right here, it's called Framboise Royale. Royal raspberry. There we go. Keep that one in mind, okay? It would knock your socks off. It's got the fresh raspberry, but then, you know, the bubbly, slightly acidic or tart champagne flavor. Merci beaucoup. Bonne journée. Bon weekend. All right, folks. And one last thing, because I'm noticing it. Two more things, because why not? We're all friends here. That's kind of fun. Gibier volaille with an old rooster. That's from a ways back. And then this place here, if you want crêpe, if you want a good savory crêpe, or sweet for that matter, go to any place that has the name Bretz. Because Bretz is from Brittany, where they invented crepes, basically. And so that's always a good sign. So here you could finish off your walk with a nice crêpe if you're not already full of pastries and escargot and confiture and all sorts of stuff. So we're going to finish up, folks. I want to thank you. This has been the Rue Montrogueil in the 1st and 2nd arrondissement, episode 28 of my live video tour series, my live stream series in the can. You can watch the replay if you want to go back. Thank you so much. We had 277 people joining me, and I'm going to be here next Saturday as well. We're going to do this pretty much every week. Again, French Frye in Paris is my name. Follow me on Facebook. On Instagram, you can follow my blog of French Frye in Paris, and you can tune into these. You can become a Patreon member if you want to get extra stuff and support the project and help it to survive and thrive. So from Rue Montrogueil in the center of town, I'm going to bid you adieu. I'm going to bid you a bon weekend. And for those who are already Patreon subscribers, go over to our private cafe chat group on Facebook, and you are going to meet my mom and sister. And we're going to find out about their experience in Paris. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much. I think that's all I wanted to say, and I think that's all I wanted to show you. Have a wonderful day today, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.